Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks again for tuning in tonight. Welcome to Tales from the Pits. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about different stories within the casino industry. Tonight, we're going to feature Michelle, and here are your hosts, Jay, John, Mike, and Danielle.
Hi, guys. Welcome to our podcast, Tales from the Casino Pit. My name is Jay. You can find me on social media at Casino Dealer Jay. My co-host today, the ever so awesome
Michelle Workman. Also my handle for pretty much everything.
at Michelle Workman. Yes, please follow. Welcome. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was gloomy the last couple of days, but I think rain's good for us. I hope we actually get a little bit more, and I hope the smoke clear up a little bit.
Sweet. We'll talk about your house a little bit later in the show, and
Sure.
That whole journey of yours, how amazing it is, right?
Yeah.
Our special guest, someone special. This is her second time on the show, but really the first, if you want to talk about the podcast, we have Shauna Lupaschuk. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. I know it's late over there. Could you tell everybody where you're at right now?
I'm in balmy Thunder Bay, Ontario, where the fires are still going strong around here. We still haven't had any rain, and significant rain. And it was 32 degrees the other day, and now it's 15, I think.
Oh my goodness. That is insane. Michelle, did you want to start with the questioning, or did you want me to start?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. First off, Shauna, for the people that have not seen you yet, this is so hard for me to always explain. Right now, we're streaming over 3 platforms. We're streaming over Facebook. Hello, everybody on Facebook. The Casino Industry Canada group. Hello, everybody there. And, of course, the Casino Dealer J YouTube channel. So thanks, everybody that's online from there as well. Shauna, for the people that haven't met you yet, even though you were on the first season, but technically it's our first season now because we renamed it, and we're on Spotify and iTunes. Could you let everybody know your casino experience and your journey and how that was? I mean, it's been quite a while since you've been in the industry, but how you're connected to the casinos, especially the ones here in Alberta.
Oh, okay. So my casino experience started. I was never snappy or smart enough to become any of the pit crew like you guys. I was bartender at a Palace Casino for a few years, and then I was a food and beverage manager there. And then I went from Palace Casino to Century Casino after I got my degree, and I was a marketing director at Century Casino on Fort Road in Edmonton. And I was there for a while until I had my oldest daughter, and it's been a while since I've been off. So about 14 years now I've been gone, but I miss it. So it was quite the life. It was interesting, and the people were amazing. It was a lot of fun.
So cool. For those people there's people that know us both. We worked at 3 different places, and 2 of them were actually in the mall.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say?
Go, please do. Okay.
So we actually first met when we were teenagers at McDonald's. And that's kind of where we first met. However, you were at a different high school than I was. It was actually kind of a split at our McDonald's. Half of us were at MU Lizard and half of us were at O'Leary. So it was kind of a weird mix. But after that, we ended up working together at Red's, which was a really cool place. I was working there and the casino at the same time, but I remember you working there. Yeah, and then finally, and then you were at the Palace Casino, and I was there as well. So it was so weird because every time I said, it's like, I know that person. I know her. Yeah.
Like we've known each other for 30 years old, I think. Because I'm 43, and I started McDonald's when I was 14. So 29 years. I saw a little baby Julian.
Yes.
A long time
yes.
ago.
And of course, and Shauna is allowed to call me Julian because at Reds, that was my name. I was Julian. So the only people on this channel, that can call me Julian are
call
Shauna
you Jay.
And well.
It's hard for me because I know you as Julian, and I know everybody calls you Jay, but it comes my head automatically, and I'm like, Julian, little Julian, like not Julian.
So yeah, that was Oh, I love that name. Yeah, only you are allowed to say it, and Joe as well, because Joe, I
Sorry.
worked on Joe on the ships. So sorry, Michelle. This is a little secret
That's okay. That's okay. I'll start my own club.
So, Shauna, it's so nice to have you on. What did you like about the casino industry?
You never knew what was going to happen next. There was never a day where it was the same old. You never knew what was going to happen. There's always going to be the excitement, and I think with the casino industry, you very rarely get a lull where uninteresting things aren't happening. There's always something going on, and the people. You're going to have your regulars, obviously, whether it's in food and beverage or at the tables or at the slot machines. But there was always something to talk about, and then there was also, like, even after your shift ended at say 3 o'clock in the morning, your casino team or you guys are going out for breakfast until 5 or 6 or whatever, or you guys would be playing, table poker games at home and stuff like that. So for me, it was such an exciting industry, and had I been younger, I'd probably go back into it.
So cool. Michelle, do you have any questions, or did you want me to keep asking?
No, yeah, I don't. You go ahead. I'm still learning a little bit too. So
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's right. I think the two of you actually did work together at the same time. Is that? I can't remember.
At Palace, right? I think the Palace, like way back.
yeah.
Did you work at Palace,
So
Michelle?
I was there from 97 to 2002. So I don't know if I don't remember you specifically. I don't know if we were there at the same time.
Because I had their super sexy tuxedo pants as the bartender, so that's how you remember me. And the tuxedos. I still remember those. It's just god awful tuxedo pants. But so I would have been there from 98 to 2002, I think, or 2001, somewhere around there. So I was only there for a few years.
Mm-hmm. Really cool. Sorry. How's the connection, Michelle? Can you?
It's okay. Shauna does. I can hear everything she's saying, but it is cutting a little bit. So.
A little, yeah. I can hear that as well.
Okay,
Shauna.
guys, let me just. All right, guys.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, no worries. I edit this part out because that's my other job. I'm the editor, so we'll have Shauna back on right away here. Shauna, just how are you doing? Did you want to log off and log back in again?
You know what? I can do that. Do you want me to do that really quick?
Yeah, why don't you try that, and then yeah.
Okay.
Because I just want you to have a really good quality on here for your podcast.
Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So. Yeah, that was quite a good time back then. They had Martuni's. Do you remember that restaurant?
Yeah, I do.
They had the guy that was like, I think, was it a mirror guy? And he had his hand out there. It was really cool. It's one of my one of the things I remember, but not my time as food and beverage manager. It was it's a little bit different when I was on there. So let's try to see if she's on.
Yeah, sometimes I forget how many different jobs you've done.
The thing with that was at the time when I was a food and beverage manager, they didn't have it. I think they lost 3 people at once. Like the manager was resigning, and then the 2 supervisors were resigning together. It was crazy. So they were left with like 1 rookie and then someone that was there for a while, right? So it was a little crazy at the time. But they just wanted me to be a supervisor at first. So then it's like, oh, this is a micro system. I know you're okay with like computers. And I'm like, that's why you want me to be a food and beverage supervisor. I don't know any drinks or anything like that. And they're like, yeah, no, it's fine. For sure. You guys can figure it out. Don't worry about it. It's a customer service. I'm like, okay. Sure. And then I remember them coming back to me every single time. And I was just like, I really just want to be a pit manager, please. And they're like, no, we really need you right now. So please do some shifts. And then the manager quit. When the manager quit, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like They come and talk to me and they're just like, oh, Jay, do you know what? Do you want to be the food and beverage manager? I'm like, no.
No.
It's like, that's fine. You can be the interim manager. I'm like, okay, I guess so. And how long is this going to be? Like a week? They're like, yeah, probably a week. And it was like 2 years off and on as
Oh
the
my
manager.
God, Jay.
And it was,
That's insane.
Yeah, it was. Let's bring back our guest. Hello, Shauna. No, I can't hear you. Oh, no. Are you muted?
No.
Everything is saying it's okay.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, there you
Now
are.
we can hear you.
There you
Oh,
are.
now
we
it's
hear you.
muted.
Oh, now you're muted.
It was unmuted for a second.
Mm-mm.
It's muted. I can see the microphone.
Oh, hang on. I can unmute you. How about that? There. Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? You can?
Yes. Yeah.
Score.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the food and beverage life at the Palace Casino, which is such a wonderful adventure. From your time, from your time at Palace and Century, what don't you miss about the casino?
Stalkers. Number one, stalkers. So there was, I don't know, Michelle, you weren't, you might not have seen the last one I was on, but I did have a guy come to the bar with a full sleeve tattoo of me on his arm. He took a picture of me.
Oh my
and
God.
never had met the guy in my entire life. Didn't know his name. I was like wiping the couch down, and he's like, "Hey, can I get your autograph on my wrist, please?" And I'm like, "Why?" It was just such a weird request. And he's like, "To go with this," and then he rips up his sleeve, and there was like a full tat of me from shoulder to wrist, with like a crown of thorns and black angel wings down the length of my body. It was the craziest thing I ever. And so the casino security had to, they called the police, obviously, and he was escorted out. We had a guy also who was diving under the toilets. The SWAT team surrounded my bar one day, and the SWAT team came around my bar, and I was like, what the hell's going on? Are we being held up? And it turned out there was a guy that they deemed the shit eater, was going to casinos around Edmonton, and he was going under the stalls while a person was going to the bathroom, and he would go and take what was in the toilet. So that happened in the Palace Casino. Yeah, there was some interesting things that happened there. The crazy, just some crazy thing. And I remember a friend who was still at the Palace. I think I was on my day off, or shortly after, and there was a guy who was really upset he lost. And I know people get like, when they lose, emotions play into everything, and they get really upset. But this guy was drinking the free coffee. It was just like at the time when the free pop and coffee were allowed to be legal, basically in Alberta. And he drank, I don't know, a pot or two of coffee at 3:00 in the morning, and he went and peed on every single seat on our upper level because he was so mad that he lost. So I don't miss that kind of stuff. I miss the people. I for sure miss the people, but there were definitely interesting things I've seen that were a flip side of people. So it's definitely interesting.
Those are some crazy stories.
I'll never forget. Like I'll never forget some of the things I've seen there. And still to this day, there's some guy, unless he has a girlfriend's face, that maybe he, superimposed her face on a tat on his arm, because that's permanent. And I didn't know the guy. I still don't even know his name. And but you guys, for tables, there's some interesting stories. I know there's interesting stories because I've seen and heard.
I don't think I can top that. Those are some killer stories.
Yeah. I promise you, nobody has a tattoo of my face on their arm. Maybe they do. If you do, just let me know.
My initials are on my husband's arm in a tattoo, but we knew each other before he did that, so
that's different, and that's okay.
That's so funny. Oh my God. All right. Michelle, did you want to ask? Did you want to ask a question, or is this my voice the whole podcast?
Well, I don't know where you're leading to, but I want to talk about her book. Like, I want to
Yes,
know
that's
about the
that's
book.
exactly where I wanted you to go. So.
Okay. Yes, please tell us about your new book. I
Yay,
want to hear
thank
it
you.
from you.
Well, so I'll start with I've wanted to be a writer since I was, 12, 13, younger. Just for my whole life, that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up getting into marketing, which actually is quite a diversion from it, and ended up working in the casinos, but I got a lot of stories from them. And I did go in Europe and I got a master's degree in novel writing. So at least I felt like I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. And this is the second one I've written during the pandemic. And this one is definitely darker. I would normally be considering it a suspense thriller, but for Amazon's purposes, it's a horror, only because I don't want to risk offending anybody, because my last book that came out, there was swear words in it, and the lady was so offended that I used the F word and some other expletives in my book. And so this one's going to be a horror. It just got released today on Amazon, and it's about a demon entering a small town in Ontario. And my cat is meowing in the background. Demon entering Ontario, and there's a bus crash. And in that crash, she loses some of her power, and then she can't leave the city until she gets that power back. So the story essentially is what follows from that. It's called Interference. Cool. Sorry, it's called Interference. Yeah.
Awesome. How long did it take to come up with the concept and actually write your piece?
So the book I wrote before this, Redeemer, I was like, okay, if I just write like 500 words a day, I'll have something in like half a year or whatever. And it was about 6 months, and then editing and stuff. But right when you're done, you're supposed to put a book away and just not touch it for a while, because that way you can attack it with fresh eyes when you go to editing. And with this book, it was the second I was done Redeemer, I needed something else to fill my time, and I needed something else to just go on, even if it's going to be, maybe it's going to be crap, maybe it's not, maybe it's going to be great. But the second I left my last book, like the day after I went on to this one, and I wrote it in about 5 months. Again, with my 2 daughters at home, schooling them, and my husband at home, and everybody needing snacks 24/7. And so that one was about 5 months, and a few months of editing. And my editor was amazing, really, really good editor this time. And so it was a labor of love for sure.
Cool.
Super.
So it's obviously like something you're really passionate about. How did you get into writing? Like, what is it that got you into it?
So this is going to sound really crazy. When I was a kid, I came from an extremely poor family, and we moved around a lot. So I think it was in 17 different schools by the time I was in grade 10, and they weren't good moves. It was like you come home and your bags are packed, and then you are on to a new school the next day, and new friends, new everything. And so when I was really young, not so much when I was in high school, when I was really young, they kind of were pushing students toward literature in some of the schools I went to. And I didn't get a chance to meet a whole bunch of friends when I was in grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, up to even junior high, because I would move so much. And for me as a kid, I just knew that if I was a writer, that I didn't have to depend on anybody but myself. So, which is a hard thing to say as an adult, because there's actually so many inputs in writing a book. You have your editor, you have your beta team, your family, friends who are going to be driving your project forward for you. So there really are a lot of people helping you out. But when I was a kid, I just was like, okay, this is something I can do without anybody's help, and nobody's going to change that for me. And so, and I wasn't.
She cut out for me. Can you hear her, Jay?
Sorry, Shauna. Your mic
cut out at the end
just
there.
cut out there.
It says host has muted mic.
Oh, there, now we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, we lost you there for a minute.
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Could you just kind of track back? maybe like
Okay,
10
so
seconds.
yeah, where did I have you guys? Where did I finish it? So yeah, so I moved around a lot, and
Mhm.
I knew that that was an eventual career or creative path you can go into where I was dependent on myself because when I was a kid, you're dependent on adults, and as a kid, those adults were taking me across the country in not necessarily healthy manners in terms of moving a lot, and so for me, it was like a really something that was like self-reliant career that I could get into that I actually didn't get into later because I was like, oh, I must become a doctor, lawyer slash marketer, whatever else it was going to be. And and so yeah, so I didn't even start reading like heavily until I was about 18.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yep. That is awesome. Sorry, like, and like throughout the time that I've known you, this was a surprise because I didn't know that. Well, we didn't go to the same school, so that was kind
Yeah.
of like I only saw you when you're at work. So when I found out that you were writing, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like it takes a lot of time and dedication and like a lot of talent because it's not easy for anybody to do, just like put words to paper, right? Even
think,
now, like yeah, go ahead.
I think anybody can do it, but you just got to if you don't have a backbone, you got to develop the backbone because you're going to write stuff that's complete garbage and you're going to write stuff that's good. And as you do it, the more you do it, the more you learn what's garbage and what's not. And I really think that anybody who has an creative path or a desire to write or paint or draw, they should do it no matter what age you are and just forge that path and know that nobody's going to love it more than yourself. So you have to kind of drive that forward for yourself to be who you are as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's some really good advice. I guess I'm just worried about what I write and if it is any good. And yeah, I mean, I guess it is a
Everybody
lot
thinks
about like
that.
context.
Every single
Yeah.
writer, every writer. So Stephen King, Neil Gaiman, Patterson, all of them, they all even today are like, okay, maybe it's crap, and they'll say it. Maybe it's crap, and that's okay. It's okay to be crap, and you just need to put your work in front of somebody. And I'm super proud of anybody who's willing to kind of lift the veil on their own creativity and go, here, world, here's me on a platter, right? And I'll read your work. Send it to me.
Okay.
I think it
Yeah.
helps. I think it always helps to hear, like, if there's aspiring writers that listen to you talk or any writer talk. I think it's always helpful to hear stuff like that. Like I remember, it's somewhat related. I feel like it helps kind of put it in perspective. There's always like speakers who do like TED Talks and like they're public speakers. They do lots of speaking. And I remember recently, like being in an intimate setting with one of these speakers. It's like a Zoom call, so it's a bit more intimate than a stage speaking. And she was saying like, oh yeah, I'm scared every time I go on stage, right? So this is someone who like speaks for a living, always speaks, like looks flawless when they do these big long talks, and is like, oh yeah, I'm always anxious. I sometimes have moments of fear and scared. And so it's kind of similar, like when you think about, oh, we just lost Shauna. Anyway, I was just saying, when you think about writing and being scared about writing, it's similar, right? When you hear people who do it and like have done it, and it's like, yeah, it's not always going to be great, right? And you just do it anyway and just keep practicing and keep getting better.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm so just impressed by people that can write. Like even the article that you wrote, I mean, it was so like impressive to put words to paper like that. And for me, I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time just putting the right sentences together. And it's like what I want to convey. It's not easy for everybody to do that.
Yeah, of course.
Even now, like we talk in our podcast, I'm like, man, am I saying the right thing? Am I like getting my point across? Sometimes I'd go on rants and stuff. And then I feel like there's a games manager that I know, and he would talk and he'd talk on one side of the argument, but by the time his spiel was done, he was on the other side of it. So it's like
these podcasts, Jay, like I've enjoyed chatting with you guys, and like we came on as guests, and that's a bit easier. This is like the most unnatural setting for me. Like this is not something that I'm like, yeah, super. Like I'm so comfortable speaking on live whatever, or podcasts. It's like not, but I've been trying to do things that are outside my comfort zone, right? Because that's how you grow and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not my comfort zone.
To be honest, I don't think it's mine either, but I really wanted to have some kind of product out there that represents us, right? And they always talk about, oh, this is like how Vegas is, and this is how all these places are, but we never really talked about Edmonton. And through the years, I'm like, wow, there's some amazing people here. There's some amazing, talented people that I've got to work with over the years. And I've always been sitting and I've always been asking, it's like, well, like, who's the most famous person that's been in the casino industry, right? And could never name anybody. And it's like, why? Because there's people that have worked in like fast food places and they're like movie stars and things like that, and they've accomplished so much.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have this channel, and it's cool to show off everybody that I've like I've been friends with Shauna for a long time. Let's bring her back on. Hello.
Hi. I don't know what's going on with my internet. Everything is kind of disappearing on me, but I think we got you again for a bit.
Yeah, no worries. I think good. And I don't know why that branding came on, but okay, cool. Yeah, I was just saying like how awesome you were while you were just trying to get back on. And I just, like I said, I had we were talking just about putting like words to paper, and I'm just so impressed because like Michelle, you wrote an article. Shauna, you've this is your second novel, but you've written a lot of short stories prior to that. Just to kind of do something that you're proud of, and the amount of time and effort and practice. Sometimes I have a hard time just conveying what I want to say. And for you to kind of get to that point where it's like, yeah, this is kind of my work, I think it's super impressive. So
yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of your other works, you do have a website. Could you let us know a little bit more info about it? Uh-oh. I think you froze again.
Yeah.
Okay, Shauna, let's see if we can jump you back on again. Oh, all right. Hopefully she's back on.
Oh, she's there.
Okay.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. The link I have is going in and out, and everybody else in my house has internet right now, so I don't know what's going on. But sorry about that.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. Could you let us know about your website? So
the website is authorsluck.com, AUTHORS luck, as in gambling casino luck.com. And I have a whole bunch of short stories in there in the front page. And then I have a blog where a lot of people who like to kind of keep in touch or follow me on my writing journey, they definitely chime in there sometimes. And I have readers from all over the world, which is really, really cool. But yeah, so I write short stories too. I love them. Some are definitely lighter for the people who can't handle horror, and then there's some that are a little bit darker, but they're fun. I have more. It's just that as I polish them, they get put up, and yeah, that's kind of how that one goes.
So awesome. Okay, well, Michelle, any more questions for Shauna?
I guess just a few. I mean, you kind of touched on this already, but if you had advice for someone who's trying to get into writing, kind of what would your advice be to get started?
So they have to read as much as possible, and you have to write every day. So whether or not it's a sentence or a word or a paragraph or a whole book, you have to read every day. You have to write every day, and don't read the greats. So I like horror, but I read a lot of classic fiction, because I want to see how they're doing it. They do things a lot differently. A lot of the fiction that you get today is distilled, and I say it's distilled because the storylines are the same or the action is the same, and they're just not. They're written not necessarily for the poetry and the language, but just to kind of get something on paper. And for me anyway, whether or not I sell 1 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 books, it's really important that my language comes first, and my story as well, obviously. But so for anybody who is looking to an aspiring writer or a journalist is just write and read as much as you can, and read not just the bestsellers, but the classics that from way back when, from like 200 years ago, from 50 years ago. Look at the Nobel Prize winners, the Booker Prize winners, look at them, and they might not be the genre you like or a story you're particularly interested in, but you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn so much just by kind of understanding the way the things that they do, and then you'll get to know why they do those things or they employ those methods in their books.
Awesome.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, that's amazing advice, actually. Okay, Shauna's book is on Amazon, so please,
Yay!
when you guys are online, make sure to pick up the book. It is available in paperback as well as Kindle format. So, Interference is the new book, and Redeemer is the first title that she brought out on Amazon.
Thank you
Perfect.
guys so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, any final shout outs, Shauna, to any of your friends or crew?
Like, hi, a big giant hello to everybody I've ever worked with in the casino industry ever, because I missed you for years. I love your stories. Keep telling them, and just it would be wonderful to see you again soon.
Perfect. Yeah, have a safe trip back here to Edmonton, and
Yep.
I hope
Thank you.
I hope you have the most success, and I can't wait to talk to you when your next issue comes out and your next novel. So
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
all right,
Thanks, Shauna.
Shauna. Take care.
Thanks. Take care. Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
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 So cool. Yeah, she's awesome. She is so awesome. Guys, if you haven't seen the first time that we had her on, make sure that you jump on. This is her second time on the show. It's the first time that we have her on the podcast, but she was on Talking Craps last season as well, and she did talk about Redeemer, and then she did
first
talk
one?
about writing. Yeah, really, it's a really good episode if you are aspiring to be a writer, and we talk about motivation and quite a bit, actually. She was on for an hour and a half, which is
Did the first book come out last year?
I think it was a few months ago. She was on later in the season, so
Oh, okay.
probably at the start of the year. So
Okay. No, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So it's just us. I don't know where Mike is.
Do we ever
but
know
guys-
where Mike is?
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I know John's gonna be away for a few weeks. So guys, his lovely voice will be on for the finale. Probably the episode before the finale as well. We're just winding down our second season. I think we're gonna do just hour blocks here for the remainder. We have some guests on, and we'll put on a few guests right here in the home stretch. But Michelle, before we talk about your awesome house adventure, I just wanted to I kind of wanted to talk, because we haven't talked since Adrian came on, and Adrian, like, watching that episode, I was actually pretty, I don't know, it was so cool to see the two of you on, because when like I said before, I've said this in previous episodes, but when I was learning craps, I was dealing to like Adrian and that crew, and they would be playing 3-6, and to see them control a table and the way that they played, it was something that kind of made me appreciate poker a lot more. And then I talked with you, and it was just more about like games, and then I remember you in one hand, and I don't know if it was turning, but I think it was that yellow head, and you were small blind, and it came around to you, and you had like ace queen, and it's like, look at this garbage, and you'd throw it away, and I'd be like, oh, what are you doing? That's an amazing hand. There's only like two people in, and then like you talk to me, it's just like, you need to understand why I'm throwing this away, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. So, but
did I explain why I threw it away in that moment?
I think I can't remember what the whole discussion was, but yeah, you did. It's just all about, you're not getting any value from it. What is the point of being in this hand, like heads up, or if you raise it? So I totally like kind of understood that. And then like, that's kind of when I started learning about position. But then you
I don't always fold ace queen in the small blind. Just for the
oh
record, let's just
okay.
put that out there. I'm like, did I explain why? Because that would be interesting why I did that. But I do understand the whole position thing, like that could come into play.
I remember that, and I think that was part of like I don't know you did that, and then I ended up doing that at like a house game because my brother's friends started to play, and I'm just like, look at this, and they're just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, guys, trust me, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see like some pros like fold kings to aces. You know what I mean? Like in big pots, and there's some pretty big folds out there. But I've also there's something I do sometimes, like not that I play a lot of poker anymore, but even back then, that I don't think a lot of other poker players would agree is the right way to do it. But I don't like to play a hand if I'm gonna play it scared, right? So like even when I was confident, there's whether it's not just a specific player, but sometimes you just like the position I'm in with the hand I'm in versus the player I'm going to be against or the players I'm going to be against. Sometimes I'd rather just not play it at all than call a raise and then play it scared, right? So there's been situations where I folded when I probably should have called because I questioned how I'd play the hand, right? So that's being an inexperienced, mostly amateur poker player. So for me, I felt like it was the right thing. I'm sure a lot of poker players would disagree with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to your point of playing scared, I think that was one of the biggest drawbacks of me, like in my poker career and when I was playing, just because of the fact that I needed that money and I don't know why I was playing. I would always be like, I can't be as aggressive as I want to be because I live by myself and I need to pay for my mortgage or I need to pay for like my utilities and I don't want to ask my parents all the time. So I'm just going to grind this out. It might take a little bit longer. So my sessions, like limit sessions were like 12 hours to 17 hours. And it just took so much like energy and time and life out of you that, I think about it now. It's like, man, what a waste of time for a couple $100.
Yeah.
I probably could have, but like I wasn't a dealer. I was human resources or something at the time, or the training coordinator. So I was making like salary. So it's like, do I really want to have like a part-time job or no, I don't. Right. So,
I mean, the good thing with poker is if you can, like when I played poker for money, I tracked, right, to make sure I was making hourly. It made sense to continue playing. Because if it doesn't make sense, then you may as well just get a part-time job, right? At least at least it's guaranteed money and all that stuff. So, but the nice thing about poker is if you can make at least an amount of money that's worth playing for, is you can play whenever you want, right? There's a lot of flexibility about when you play.
That's true. And that's the thing that I liked about it. I like that, like later on, you'd be on your cell phone and you could do whatever. And like there wasn't that rule where it's like, oh, no cell phones on the table. Like nobody, it got to the point where it's like nobody cares, right? You're not.
Well, when I was playing poker, there were no cell phones.
Yeah.
Like people had cell phones, but not smartphones, right? So if you had to go on the internet, it would take you like 10 minutes to get to 2 pages. So it was for phone calling and texting only.
Well, it's idiotic to be thinking, well, this guy's texting his hand or something. Like it's just so stupid, right? It's not worth it. And so I mean, like when you like now I could sit at a table and like watch an episode of something on Netflix and wait for a hand and
kill time.
And I think that's a problem. I think that's kind of what's changed the game as well. Like, I know you and Alex were talking about like how people have gotten smarter over the years, but the fact that people they're not just sitting there and waiting for a hand, right? So they don't
get bored as quickly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players who I played against a lot of players who when they first sit down are pretty tight or reasonable hand selection, and within half an hour they're just like playing every hand just because they get bored, or playing the hands longer because they are bored.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean that's a huge part of my life, like poker, or just spent so much time playing it. It was just so, it's brutal when I think about it now. But now it's like, if I play like a $10 tournament, I feel like I can beat anybody, right? Because I'm not scared of like losing $10. So it's like all in. And I could never do that with like a $50 buy-in back then. It's like, oh my God, $50. Like, what a waste of money if I like bluff all in here, even though I know he's going to fold, but I don't want to take the chance. So it's like, changes your game.
You and I would talk about poker so much, it always makes me want to play poker.
Well, you gave me Super Systems, and I was just like, oh, look at this. It's like this nice silver book. And it's like, yeah, just read it. So then I took it, I read it, and then I started talking about everybody else. And I'm just like, well, I really want a really good limit book. What kind of book is there? And then I don't remember which player it was, but he was just like, yes, get that Sklansky book. And once I got that first book, I forgot what it was called, but the starting hands, I just buckled down and I played the top 10 starting hands and I sat on it. And that's when I felt like I could make money off of the game. But yeah.
Sklansky has the Book of Tells too. That's another really famous one for him.
Yeah. I don't think I bought that one. I bought his two. It was like a peach one and then a red one, and I can't remember, but it had a lot of limit talk in it. Yeah. And Mike Carroll's Tells, I got that one because
that's who wrote the book. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, and he had a DVD too, so then you'd watch and it's
yes.
This guy doing this is definitely doing something weird. Right? It's like, okay.
Yes. I don't know why I thought that was Sklansky. You're right. That's who it is.
Well, yeah. But at that time, there was a whole schwack load of like books coming out.
But that's the Book of Tells. Is that one? At least from back then. I mean, maybe someone's written a better one since. Like I'm not really up to date on the current poker books that are out there. But
yeah. Well, guys, if you're online, we haven't actually got any comments yet, but if you're online, just let us know what books were good to read for poker. Casino books. For those of you just joining on, welcome. We had Shauna on, Shauna Lupaschuk, and her books, Interference and Redeemer, are on Amazon. So if you have any time.
I like her pen name.
I saw Luck. Yeah, really cool. Hey?
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what mine would be, but it wouldn't be as awesome as that. It'd probably just be Jay.
What's your DJ name?
Oh, Courageous. But I spelled it wrong. I spelled it Korajus, so it was like Courageous. Nobody knew it was Courageous. Hey, Courageous. I love Courageous. And I was like, I must have missed a Y or something in there. I wanted it to sound really good, but it wasn't.
That's funny. Don't you hate that when you think you're like so clever and you're like, oh, this is perfect. And you're like, oh, damn it.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. So that episode with Adrian was really, really awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, watch it because I don't know, she's another successful person. I mean, she had a little bit of time in the industry, but I mean, she did so much.
She worked 3 weeks at Palace as a waitress.
Still counts.
Still counts. She still had the pen. You know what I did? The pen didn't work, but I wanted to keep the pen, so I did surgery on another pen so I could get the ink out so I could make the pen work.
That's hilarious.
My goodness. You know, like Adrian's very good. She's like, my best friend. So it's easy for me to sing her praises, but she truly has a very interesting life trajectory, right? Like career trajectory, whatever you want to call it, kind of how her life has progressed. I find it really interesting just because of how unorthodox it was. And so, I mean, I think she's cool to just talk to learn about like how that happened, right?
Yeah. To have her say it's like, I made it into the World Series main event. I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. I don't think I'm going to meet anybody that's, that I know from before that's in the World Series main event.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, like I know some poker players who played poker in our room, right? That have played in the main event. I think she played in it twice.
Yeah.
She would have played it a third time, but I think, as she said in that episode, they changed the rules so you can't register people anymore. So when people win satellites, they just get the money, and it's a bit harder to say, "Here's $10,000 to play in the main event" when you actually have the $10,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Most people keep it. I think if that had happened the first year, she probably would have played in it, right? Because that's what she was working towards. So she hadn't played in it yet. I bet you she would have played the main event. But having already played it, she's like, I'll just go play a few other events with the money. So.
Oh yeah, like I'd probably do that too if I was in her shoes. I mean, I'd play the dealer event, and I'd be happy just doing that, right? So
Yeah. Because it's
But
like
yeah.
40 some days or events or something. Maybe not days, events or something like that. It's a long stretch for those who play the whole thing.
Yeah, I guess if there is any regrets, I guess it's not playing an event in the World Series. I mean, it's not as fabulous as it is anymore, but it probably would have been so much fun back then to go to Vegas and try it out. But
Alex played one. What event did you play? 1500 no limit hold'em, and he bubbled. He bubbled the 1500.
oh no, he's telling the story.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, come on, Alex, jump on.
Tell the bad. Come over.
Please tell us your bubble story from the World Series.
I'll sneak in here. I was playing in the 1500 event and I bubbled. I don't remember what the hand was, but I know there was 3 of us all in, and the chip leader ended up winning, and Esfandiari, and I want to say it was either Chip Jet or it might have even been Lane Flack. Like, I can't remember exactly who was around there, but they were cheering me on because we had chatted like 2 years prior on the cruise ship when we had dealt to him. And so he was like, oh, and I ended up busting on the bubble. I was one out. I was the bubble. There was like 4 people that got eliminated because it was our table and another table that was still going hand for hand. And bubble, and Esfandiari was like, oh, good job, man. You made the right play. I'm like, I had no chips. Like, there was nothing I could do.
How many people were in that event? Do you remember?
1,200, something like that. It was a big event.
Yeah.
Like, it was a decent size.
I remember you bubbling that one.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a trip.
That was the only event you played, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the event.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Well, at least you got to say that you played in that event, so I'm super jealous. I mean, I
was actually down there with Adrian.
Yeah.
So Alex was there with Adrian, not me. I wasn't there. they went to the World Series together. I stayed home and worked.
My sugar mama. You go to make money and I bubble. Oh.
Did you at least get a really cool action shot of you on the table, or was that just for main event players?
No.
I mean, if that photo exists, we don't have it anymore.
Yeah. The only photo I have of me, anything to do with like a World Series, is the back of my head when I was shipping the Party Poker Million.
That's
oh my god.
So that
when you were dealing.
Yeah, sorry, when I was dealing. That's the only like actual big kind of picture I would have is the back of my head.
Yeah, dealing at the final table.
I mean, it's not that pretty. Like it's
not that exciting.
No, it doesn't. Like, you can't really tell. It's the back of my head.
That's okay. I remember when it was A Channel, they came into the Palace and they were doing a thing about craps being a brand new game, and Kwan and Marvin were dealing in the show, and I was on the table as well, and it ended up showing this picture of Marvin, but I was on base, and then you could see my elbow. I flipped out. I was so excited to see like part of my arm on TV because it was the first time I was ever on TV. And I was like, Mom, look, that's me right there. That is so me for sure. And yeah, that was it. I don't know if you guys were on, but I was there's this place, Foam Fighters, and it's like my cousin's place. And this is like recent. They opened, they've been open for maybe like almost a couple years now, but when they first opened, then they were like doing all this stuff with like the grand opening. CTV came, and I was going outside with Colton, and we were like in the parking lot. It's like, hey, did you just come out of Foam Fighters? And I'm like, yeah, we did. And they're like, oh, do you mind if we put you on TV? And I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, yeah, totally, right? So I grab my son, and we're just like standing there, and they're just like, so how was it in there? How did you like Foam Fighters? I'm just like, I like playing stuff and people, nice, good, amazing, love, place, awesome. And so, and they're like, how about you, little man? And he's just like, yeah. And that's all he said. So like, we're just like done. And he's like, okay, well, thank you very much. He goes back in, and I was just like, I look at like 5 o'clock, and then of course, like, we're not on. Like our pieces just got cut off because I just like froze under camera. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. So that was my one and done for like my 30 seconds of fame on CTV. So whatever.
It did not go viral.
No, it didn't.
Jay, it's your elbow and your amazing fun.
Yeah, it was my elbow for sure. That's the best that I can do, an elbow, and a couple DJ shots from like the Baccarat party pit. I was on there, which is embarrassing now when I look at it. But yeah, well, let's not talk about that.
You're a superstar, Jay. That's all it is. Now look at you. You have a YouTube channel.
Your YouTube show and a podcast.
Yeah, I'm a YouTuber. How amazing is that? Guys, speaking of my YouTube channel, I just wanted to plug my Paigao Tiles Learn to Play series, which the second episode will be out. It's every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, so you can kind of watch me talk about Paigao Tiles. So I'm gonna make you expert players. So
definitely check it out.
Anyways, enough about me and life. How about you guys? How is life going for the two of you right now?
We sold our house on Friday.
Yay! That's so cool.
So exciting.
So what's
in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh man. So what's the plan now? What are you guys gonna do? Are you going to be gypsies or?
Yeah, we moved into an apartment actually before we listed our house. So we decided to rent for a year to make sure that we like apartment living, because my son's 22. So we had this big house that we weren't using and paying for no reason. So we're in an apartment in Windermere. So far, we love it. So we'll see what happens in a year. I'm still not really sure about buying a condo. So much risk involved with condos versus houses. So we'll see how that goes. But we do love living in the apartment. It's awesome.
Is it a lot of risk because of like condo fees or?
Yeah, there's a couple things. So like for example, my parents live in a condo, and their house is actually their place is worth less than when they bought it, because their condo fees have gone up so high. So if the building isn't managed very well, condo fees can go up pretty high. And if condo fees go up high, it affects your property value, because people are looking at the overall monthly payment it's going to cost them, right? And anytime condo fees go up, it's going to devalue the property. There was also some changes in the legislation recently that make insurance really expensive. Like, I won't go into the details. So like, my parents just had a $7,000 special assessment, mostly because of this new legislation. And they might get another. They're lobbying to get it changed and stuff. But if that doesn't happen, they'll probably get assessed more money. So there's a lot more risk involved than there used to be. We've been in townhomes before, and this is mostly apartments. Townhomes aren't as much of an issue. They still would be a little bit, but and I don't want to be like the naysayer for buying a condo apartment, but make sure that you're doing your due diligence and reading the documents and know how well the building is managed if you're going to do it. So yeah, there's just more risk involved.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't know too much about condos. I've been in this house forever, and it was like a fight to keep it. When I was first single. So yeah, I'm
long have
kind
you
of I'm envious. What's that?
How long have you been there in the house?
2005.
Okay,
Oh wow,
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
16 years. That's a decent time.
yeah.
It's
And Alex, you've been here once. Michelle, I think you've been here once, and that's it.
I was in
And it
your
was
basement once.
you were in my basement. Yeah, actually, for 2 seasons of the Roadie Poker Tour, you were in my basement because I have a picture. I have a picture of you in the first season, and I have a player's card, the Pro Angler series. This is how this is how
Pro
dumb.
angler.
Yeah, this is how dumb I am. Yeah,
Pro
it's
bullshit.
the Pro Angler series was actually supposed to be about fishing, but I used the card and then made it about poker. So
That's awesome. I love that.
I like that one.
just the fact that I was making player cards of everyone is just that told you how pathetic my life was at the time.
Jay,
So
really, I don't think that's pathetic at all. When you do something, you do it all the way, buddy. Like that's
yeah,
that's just who you are.
Agreed. Like what that is.
Yeah.
I can't even show you the commercial. There's a commercial, and yeah, I'll send it to you guys like on Facebook after. But there's an actual commercial of the tour, which is
That's
ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah,
Let's have a restart of it because since you guys have been talking about poker and since this has been going on, I absolutely want to have a tournament. I want to play like the heads up thing, and I will absolutely call out Danny right now because I will play heads up with her. But we need to have talking because I will get underneath her skin. I love that. Just so you know.
Talking all this poker makes me want to play poker.
It has for me too. Like you guys have chatted about it so many times, and just like you guys at the casino, I was like, wow, I could go play poker. But do you want to? No.
We walked around for like a second. I think this was before you were there, Michelle. I did a lap, and then I think we just left after that. We didn't even play.
We walked a long way out, right? We went past poker and then went out the main door.
And in my mind, I'm like, I'm just tired. I just want to go home because I got to work tomorrow. So that was in my brain. That's the old person talking now. It's like, oh, this is how it is, right? We can't stay awake past 11.
Yeah. A lot of nights like 9:15, he's like, I'm tired. I'm like, okay.
It's bedtime. Like, why not?
I would love to have. This is actually what I would love. I'd love to have everybody like on the cast and a couple other people, some of our previous guests on, and you guys just around a poker table, and then we'll just play.
Nice. Just talk and play. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and record it, right? Because I know how dumb it's going to be, and it's I think it would be so much fun to do that.
We need deep stacks for that, and we need it to be absolutely ridiculous. Like, and we have to have drinks. Oh, FYI, Jay, I'm gonna toot my own horn today.
Okay, sure.
Big news in Alex.
Huge news in Alex world today.
Okay.
I don't know if you're a golfer, Jay, but I broke 80 for the first time.
Oh yeah, I saw the post. Sorry, I knew that. I saw my page. I don't know if you reposted it 9 times or something, but yeah.
He posted it once, but there were some comments, so it helps kind of get.
I'm not popular, Jay. Really, I mean, it's Alex. I mean, but no, I shot 78, and this has been years in the making, and I can't tell you how elated I am. I want to scream from the mountaintops. No one will ever understand what it was, but I want to scream from the mountaintops.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing. Congratulations on that. I'm not a golfer. I don't claim to be a golfer, but I'm sure that's an amazing accomplishment for somebody that's. I don't know how many rounds you play a year, but I think yeah. Do you have new clubs, or is it the same clubs you've been using for a while and have mastered your clubs? I don't see it. Like, my golf talk isn't very good, so.
That was probably the best like attempt at golf talk I've heard in a long time.
Thanks.
I actually this year I actually got fitted, so I changed my clubs. It's not gonna mean anything to you, but I changed the lie. It doesn't matter. But I've been working on my game for quite a while. Like when we had our house, you can ask Michelle, during the wintertime, I was chipping from my living room to my front door with wiffle balls. And Michelle was like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Practicing." I can't even explain the addiction it is. Like, you know how you were with poker when you had it?
Yes.
Like, I want to be 100%. And the average golfer, I'd say 80% of the golfers in the world can't break 100. And then
Really, 80%
Yeah.
can't break 100.
yeah, that's what the average is.
Okay.
I think it's actually higher than that. But anyways, and then so when it comes down to it, breaking 90 is another level. And now breaking 80 is like you're getting to the higher end of golfers where, I mean, I will never play on a tour, but just the fact that I can break 80, I was like, I had a smile from Northern Bear where I played today, which is a half an hour away till I got to my house. I was smiling the whole way. I'm driving along. I was like, yeah, I shot 78. I was singing it. Like, I shot 78. I broke 80. It doesn't mean anything to most people, but yeah, for me, it's wow. And I celebrated by having donaires tonight.
Yeah, 3 donaires. I think, is that what you posted? That's amazing. Oh, I thought it was 3. Sorry, I should reread the post.
I don't know. Can you eat 3 donaires?
No,
That
I
would
don't
be a
even think
lot.
I could eat. I don't think I could eat 2, let alone 1.
Yeah.
Like I have 1, and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's amazing. Hopefully this isn't the pinnacle of your career in golf. So hopefully,
I hope.
I don't know what I don't know how much better you can do. Like, isn't 65 like an amazing score and
Yes.
professional? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
Most
kind
people
of your
do
target.
65 on 9 holes.
Okay. For an average person, like amongst your friends, is this like the best score that's ever been shared?
He plays with some. We play with some people who
Yeah.
who break 80 sometimes.
Like
Okay.
we have a friend that shot 76 recently. I have a friend that shot, I think he shot 76 or 78 or 79.
But even this whole group, like even Alex and the guy who shot 76 will some days shoot 95 or 100. Like
Yeah.
that's what being a rec golfer is.
Like we're not being paid for it. Like when there's people out there that get upset when they make a bad shot in golf. For me, it's I'll make a bad shot and I'm like, well, that happens. So you go to the next shot. I'm not getting paid for it. I can't get upset for it because I don't go out there and practice 40 hours, 80 hours, a million hours every week and go into tournaments and get paid for it or anything. So for me, if I can just break 80 and wow, that's all I can say. My skill, of course, is breaking par, but that takes a lot of skill
Oh my
too.
God, is that really?
Yeah,
That's
my
gonna
next.
take a long time.
No, it won't.
Okay.
2 years.
It's like, okay.
Right.
Mark it on the calendar. 2 years.
Feel free to move on from the golf talk, though. We
Yeah.
do not have to stay on the golf topic.
No, it's cool because like I got to golf with Mark one golf tournament, 2 golf tournaments, because I think I was golfing with him at the Wayne Sports Cards.
Oh yeah, I've played in that tournament.
Yeah, I talked about that with him too because, like, yeah, my dad actually passed away, and that was something that it was really memorable to actually go. There's 2 things that happened that kind of got me back on my feet. One was a Dead Mouse concert that my friend Emery took me to, and the other one was that, and that was it was really cool. So That's why I always love Mark. Like he'll always be like special. Oh, you guys are special too, but your whole family, like, yeah, you guys are really good golfers, and
That's thanks
yeah.
to my dad. Like Mark and I grew up playing golf, so that's
Yeah.
just like a kind of part of our childhood. We played junior tournaments and stuff like that. So.
Her and her dad taught me everything I know. That
Yeah.
and a few YouTube videos, but realistically, it's them. And Michelle can attest to this. It's kind of funny. I will be playing golf and I will come home, and this is about like a year later after she's told me something about 15 times. I'll come home after watching like a YouTube video, and I'm like, guess what I tried? And I'll say it. She's like, yeah, I told you that like a year ago. She's like, oh,
it's
you're
like
right,
your
you
kids
did.
and your parents, right? Like your kids don't listen to you, but they hear it from someone else, and you're like, never mind. Like, I'm glad someone else told you, so you finally started doing it.
It's like loosening your grip. Like
Or
one of the
whatever.
first things was like probably loosening my grip. Oh, you told me not to squeeze it like this. That makes sense. And I come home and like, I loosen my grip. She's like, yeah, I told you at the beginning. She's like, oh.
Usually I don't even say that. I just look at him like, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
That is so funny.
I found this thing. It's so great. I'm like, seriously?
Oh. Yep.
Oh, just for the record, I do like golfing. I just haven't been good at it ever, and
Well,
I should really take some lessons. I think that's
No,
number one.
only if you want to. See, here's the thing about golf, and the reason why it's one of my favorite sports is because even if you're not good at golf, you and I and Alex can all go play golf together.
Anytime, Jay.
And it doesn't matter, like if let's say you play racquetball. Let's say racquetball is your thing, and you're pretty good at racquetball for a rec player, and you were going to take someone who's never played before. It's not that much fun, right? Because like someone's really good and someone's not that good. Same with basketball, same with a lot of sports. But golf, it really doesn't matter. Any two people can go play together and have a good time. So that's why I really like golf.
If somebody takes, like, if I shoot a 78 and somebody shoots 156, I don't care. It's all about being out there in the wilderness, like enjoying
the wilderness.
I
Just
say,
stay outside.
You're outside. Well, there is wilderness. Don't get us wrong. But I mean, when you're just out, you're outdoors. You're enjoying yourself outside and the company. I mean, I have played with some incredibly great golfers. I've played with some incredibly not so great golfers. And you know what? To me, it's all the same. I love it. It's like Michelle said, any 4 players can play together. And as long as you're out there and you're not taking it seriously and getting upset, because let me tell you, if you're shooting 105 and you're getting mad when you're taking a bad shot, settle down. Like, you ain't on the tour yet. Like, I mean, I can understand getting upset if you're, putting for $1 million, but this is, you're putting because your buddy said you couldn't make it. Like, come on. As long as you're out there having fun, Jay, let's go golfing. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. I won't say no. I was just like, I hit a lot of schlong balls, that's for sure. From like, it doesn't even go from like the white to the red. So, see, I knew that. I knew they're called schlong balls because someone told me. So that's my golf knowledge right there.
You know what? That's the best tee shot ever, because then you get to take 2 tee shots off of the next tee box. It's perfect. I'll even let you tee it up again.
Well, thanks. I totally appreciate that. Yeah, and I love golfing in front of strangers. It's like they kind of drive up, so then they're like following you, and then I usually like I'm golfing with someone like amazing. It's like, oh wow, it's like 200 something yards. It's amazing, nice shot. Oh, down the fairway, and then like you'd see my shot, and it's just like whoosh, like off to the right, just a little bit, like 5 feet away, and I'm like, let me just kind of get that. So yeah, but the awkward silence that happens after that is just like, yeah, this is totally fun. I'll just stick to bowling. Did you guys? Yeah, go ahead.
Both.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, bowling's different. I'm not very good. Like my family is really good, and I worked at a bowling alley for like a long time, and that was like the best. I got really, really good because my bowling was free, and I'd play like 50 games, and nobody cared, right? Because it was just me, and I had a lane, and Reds was like not super busy. Only on Fridays and Saturdays it was busy, but
Yeah.
my right arm was like so like defined because
Red.
of the bullet. Yeah, and then this arm was like marshmallows, right? Because it was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything with that. So
Missed left arm day.
yeah, it's so funny. Oh
Never
man.
forget left arm day, Jay. Left arm day.
Did you guys want to answer a question? Since I have you
Sure.
both on, I think it's cool. All right,
Sure.
how about this one? What is the biggest payout you have ever given? Do you remember?
Oh, jeez.
Mine was $1 million
What? You paid
on
the
the
poker
tournament.
tournament? Did you pay it out yourself?
I shipped the winning pot.
Yeah, sure.
That's
I
it.
guess so.
I mean, I've never given a big payout other than on like, well, I've shipped out. If it's a poker pot, it was, I'd probably say $140,000 or $150,000.
Like on the ships?
Yeah, on the ships, on the cruise ships.
Yeah, I don't
But-
think I have a story to write home about.
The
Like,
when it comes down to it, the biggest payout I would have done would have been the tournament where I shipped the guy the winning hand, and it was
Yeah.
$1 million. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I mean that would probably be the biggest because you were involved with it and the money was there. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like I paid out some poker. Well, no, I don't think I.
like, have you like in Caribbean Stud? Did you deal a straight flush ever?
No, like that's what I
Me
was
neither.
If I was to give out a big.
no,
It would be like Caribbean Stud, like even like other prop games. Like I never did like the 40 to ones and the all that stuff. Like
I did that on Baccarat, but that's still not that much. Like,
Mm-mm.
what's the biggest bet you're gonna get? 100? I don't even think it's $100. I think it's $25.
Mhm.
I think you can make $1,000. Like it's $1,000 bet, even if you make a tie on Baccarat. Like,
Yeah.
like I said, the reason for me the biggest payout would be in a poker game, and I've shipped over $100,000 in no limit hold'em.
Mhm.
I shipped $1 million pot when the guy won the tournament. So
I remember the most I won in a casino, which is not. Well, it's interesting to me because I know the kind of gambler that I am, but it's probably really boring for most people because it wasn't that much.
Well, I want to know. No, I want to know how much. How much was it?
So the most I ever won in a casino in one night was $1,500, and the reason and this is not counting poker. Not that I probably came close to that in poker a few times, but
probably in 612.
yeah, 612. But the reason I remember it specifically on the floor is because I didn't play the floor a lot because, like I've said many times on this show, my brain is very analytical. So it doesn't make logical sense for me to play on the floor. So I figured that out. I mean, I did gamble for a little bit when I first started dealing, but once I kind of figured that out, I kind of just stopped, right? I played craps once in a while for fun, but I treated it more like entertainment, right? Which is what it should be. So, but there was one night I remember very vividly at Argyle, and I didn't play a lot at Argyle. I maybe have played at Argyle in my life, other than poker, like 3 times. And I was there by myself. Again, I think I finished playing poker, and I'm like, oh, let's go. And I played blackjack. So I played Caribbean Stud. So I played Caribbean Stud. I won whatever hand paid, like I made $600 or $800. I don't remember. It was one of the two on like
Quads.
on like a bigger
It's
scale.
quads. Yeah.
And so I was like, that was huge for me. Like I didn't win that much money because when I win like $50 or $100, like I'm out the door, right? I'm not like a gambler, right? I'm like, I lose a little and win a little, right? So I was like, let's do something weird. So I went to a blackjack table, an empty one, because I didn't want to screw up anyone's hand. And I played 2 squares of $100 until I lost. And I think there was one time I played one, like however it works out to be an odd number. I think I played one hand and it was only 100. And then as soon as I lost, and I kept winning, and then I lost, and so I left. And for me, that was like at the time, I was like 20, right? Or 19 or something. Like that was a lot of freaking money at the time. I was like shaking walking out of the casino. Like now I tell the story and it's like, it's not that much money, but back then it was a lot of money. And yeah, that was like the only time I really just like went hard gambling. For me anyway, that's going hard gambling.
I'm scared to ask, but how about you, Alex? What is what's I don't know.
Biggest win or biggest?
Do you want to answer that? The biggest win?
Not counting poker.
Oh, not counting poker.
Well, you can say poker too if you remember.
No, my biggest win would have been baccarat, and it was like it was probably like 22 or 2,500. I like playing baccarat. I know it's a silly game, but it would be baccarat.
I like how you have the question there. Like create our own questions, Alex and I. It's like doesn't matter what you ask us, we're gonna answer what we want.
Yeah. I think it would be it would have been like 22, 2,500 on baccarat, and it was just me betting silly, and like I had no method. It was just bet, and yeah. In poker, I want to say like my biggest win would have been like probably 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah, there was a 6-month period where Alex was playing a lot of pot limit.
Yeah, and I would say 5,000 or 6,000. My biggest loss is 9,000. I know that, and it was my biggest loss in one hand is 10,125.
25.
It's not like I remember or anything. I might be able to tell you the exact hand,
you
but
remember
whatever.
the story?
Oh, I played it so terribly. I should have laid it down. But yeah, that was probably my biggest loss, and yeah, my biggest win, like I said, in poker was probably 5,000 or 6,000, and my biggest loss or my biggest win on the floor would probably been like I really didn't. If I gambled, it was while I was waiting for poker, and everybody in the casino knows Sheriff, which me and him call each other Dummy. But we would play like 3-6, and then we play 10-20 at the Palace, and then we go to the floor. We'd lose $1,000 in the 10-20 game. We'd run out to the floor. We'd make $1,000 on baccarat. We'd run back into the 10-20 game and play again. Like that was like for fun. That was like a regular, like, oh, this is great. Let's do this. We can go make $1,000 here. We'll go blow 1,000 here. Like, and that was whatever. That was fun.
If that happened after Alex and I were together, it did not happen very many times.
That was like my early years.
Those are pre-Michelle stories.
Definitely. When I was playing every day at the Palace when we first met.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
When Mark would have been saying, "Unrack my chips," is what I would say. People would watch that.
Oh my god, that's some amazing stories.
What's your biggest win, Jay?
Oh, okay. I'll tell this one because I was gonna talk about the dumbest things I've ever done to lose money, because there's a lot, and they're really funny when you look at it now. But we'll save it for the next episode. I'll make sure I write that down. But my biggest win, it was a combination because it was 2 days, but I was playing on Absolute Poker. So I don't know if you guys were ever play on. Okay, yeah, before all that weird.
Maybe briefly, but I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
So right before all that weird stuff happened with the site and it getting bought out or whatever, they had blackjack on it, and I'm like, ooh, look at this. So I was playing, and they had like 9-handed 25-cent 50-cent limit, and I was playing that. I ended up getting to I bought it for 25 and I doubled it, so I had $50, and I'm like, okay, this is dumb. It's impossible to cash out on this site. I had a little debit card, which was really cool, and that was the only thing I remember about Absolute. And so I started playing blackjack, but then I just bet the $50 right off the bat, and I had a 20. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then I win, and I was like, I'll just run it. So then I ran it to like $100. I got a blackjack, and I'm like, okay, this is nice. Run it again, another 20. I ran it up to 2,700 US
Holy shit, Jay.
from $25. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. So then I ended up just like cashing that out. After that, I took that to River Cree. Well, I spent $700 on strippers and booze and shit and all the other cool stuff I was doing when I was there. No, really, I think I bought like a computer, really. So like really nerdy stuff. But I had like $2,000 left, and this is the first time I ever bought in and had green chips in front of me on a craps table. I am definitely a $5 player, but
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna pretend that these 4 stacks are like $400. Like I'm thinking that's in my brain, right? So I'm just betting a quarter of the line, double odds at the time. I think that's all they had. But I cashed. I was down 1,500, and it's the first time I've seen the boxman write my name down. Like, like this guy's losing, so it's kind of like embarrassing. This girl comes on. It's the first time. She's like, "Oh my god, is this craps?" I'm like, "Yes." And it's like, well, can I roll? I'm like, yes, So the table was like full. Remember, the max at the time was $200. I had under $500 left. So I bet the line and then double odds. And then I think I just bet 110 on the inside. And I was just like freaking out because I'm like, oh, I lost all this money. And, I really wanted to like do something fun. And yeah, I was in a relationship at the time, so it was just like, it was kind of embarrassing because I was like bragging about winning this, and now it's like gone. So then this girl went on like an epic roll, and I was maxed out on my place bet. So I had 200, all the way across, except I had $100 buy on the 4, and I cashed out $5,700.
Wow.
And I hit a 2-way. Hard 6, which was like $600 at the time. So 600 for the dealer, 600 for myself. It was like the proudest moment ever.
Yeah.
I felt like such a George. And it's funny, they didn't have any cookies. So then I'm like, it's like when I was done, they're all in my hand.
That's so awesome. They couldn't even give you a rack to give
No, because there was a lot of big players, and I wasn't even the biggest winner, which is funny, right? So I'm like just leaving the table. I'm so happy. And then one of like the mall owners, the mall owners, like I'm just gonna say a name, but it's like, oh wow, you did really well. I'm like,
public information. Everyone knows it's the Gramesians.
Yeah. So the okay one comes up to me and is like, yo man, you did really good. I'm like, yeah man, check this out. And it's like spilling out of my hand, and I'm just like running away. I feel like you today. Yay. Like run off. So
that's such a good story.
that was by far the best brag story I ever had on craps. And I was so down, and I was like, this is it. I'm so embarrassed because I've lost so many times more than I've won, and I feel like such an idiot. And then this girl just brings me back to life and made me enjoy craps after that. So
that's awesome.
Jay,
Yeah.
I remember coming back to life type story. I remember being stuck like, I want to say it was $3,000 on Baccarat one time, and I was stuck like 2,000. I went out to my bank, pulled out my last like $1,000, and I went back in, and I was down to my last like 200. Ran that back up to like 2,900, and I'm like, I am out of here. I don't care. I have won money. I know I'm down $100. I am winning. Woo! Walk out the door. I didn't even care, and I didn't even. That was probably that was the moment where I'm like, I'm never playing baccarat. Like
So Alex's biggest win is when he lost $100.
Yeah. Is when I've lost $100. There you go. That was my proudest, biggest win I've ever
had. You reminded me of one story, and I'm just gonna say it quickly. I don't think Mark's gonna remember this, but we were playing craps one time, and I know he was in for quite a bit. And I was down like $200. I'm like, yo, Mark, do you have like a 5? And he's like, yeah, here. He threw me like a 5. I put it on the pass line, and I just let it sit there. And I let it double, right? And it went. I got my money back, and then I gave him his $5 back. He was so mad at me about that. I was like, why are you getting mad at me? You just helped me get my money back. He was still down though, right? So he was like pretty pissed off, but it was so funny because I'm like, thanks for the $5. And then I think I just like left. But yeah, oh my God. That was funny. Oh, it was so fun back then just to play, but yeah, man. I don't know. It's different now. We need to go back and try. So yeah. All right. Alex, hey, thanks for jumping on here. We didn't really have too much content, but any shout outs, anything you want to promote since you're on?
I shot 78.
That's what I was going to shout out today, but then he came on the show, so now I don't have to do that.
I'm going to be joining the PGA Tour next year. Yeah, because I shot 78 once, and so might as well just start paying me millions of dollars because, yeah, I'm the greatest golfer in the world.
Who do you have to thank for that? Like just yourself? Is it? Oh. Are you doing that because you're under camera or?
No. I'm honestly, her and her dad have taught me everything I know about golf. It's don't get me wrong. I mean, I've watched some YouTube videos and stuff like that, but just their guidance in the fundamentals of golf. And when you do become a better golfer and stuff like that, you figure out, like, yeah, sure, there's certain things that I do a little bit differently than she does, but when it comes down to it, it's the fundamentals that she first taught me that I'm doing now consistently, like relaxing, following through, swinging properly, little things like that. Course management, picking the right, like today, which you won't understand this, Jay, but I hit probably my driver only 2 or 3 holes that normally I would have picked out my driver and just hit it on every hole. Like I was hitting 5 irons, 3 woods, 5 woods. Like it's just smarter placement because I understand what my clubs go for distance. And she's taught me you want to play the hole backwards. Because when you're on the green, it's probably going to be 2 shots. You know that. So now you got to figure out where you want to be on your 3rd shot coming in, and then your 1st shot coming there to get to that point. If it's on par 5, it's a shot to that point too. So it's just all about figuring it out. And honestly,
it's like playing pool, right?
Yeah.
You should think shots ahead, right?
Yeah,
you don't just think about the next shot.
And it's like poker, like it's your EV.
No,
not
it's
EV.
like poker.
Well, it's like
now you've confused me.
I don't know how it's like poker. Yeah, he gets some credit for himself. Like my dad and I are the reason he started playing golf, but he practices a lot. Like I hate practicing. I don't go to the driving range. I barely warm up to play. So he does spend a lot of time improving his game, and that's part of the reason for sure. So he definitely gets the credit.
I was there for 45 minutes before my game, and all I worked on was a 120-yard shot. That's it. And then I hit 3 drivers. I hit a couple putts and a couple little chips, and that was it. But it was a 120-yard shot because the last time I golfed, I was consistently in that 120-yard shot, and I was hitting them 50 yards, 70 yards, 20 yards, 5 yards, 150 yards. Like there was no consistency to it. So I went to the range, and I pulled out my 120-yard club, and I hit that, and I hit that, and I hit that, and I hit probably 20 balls. And then I hit a couple drivers just to feel that because that's the first club I was going to hit, or my 5 wood off the tee shot on my first tee. And then I went and hit a couple putts just to get the green. But I am dedicated to figuring out how to make my golf game better. That's what it is. So shout out to golf.
I'm like, that was the longest shout out ever. Alex really likes golf, if you haven't noticed.
A little bit.
That is so awesome. Guys, thank you so much for being on. You've made this episode, and we were only supposed to be on for an hour, but look, we've gone an hour and a half, so hooray. It's a regular episode.
When you have Alex on the
That's cool. Yeah, we had 2 guests on. That's awesome. So the only shout out that I have is my super announcement here right at the end. This is my kicker. This is like the end. We have coming up the Universal Paigal Tiles League of the Universe.
King of the Universe.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
So Commissioner Arden Che is he's the Dana White of the league, and he will be making an announcement very soon here. The press conference will be coming up this summer, and that's just the little teaser that I gave you. I don't want to, give too much away, but yes, there will be a draft. There will be a draft, and there will be teams, and there will be a
That's
cup.
awesome. I'm excited.
As long as I get a tile sent to me and I can feel it, I'm golden, buddy.
That's like, yeah, we're definitely mailing you one tile at a time for sure. I don't know who you're going to be against, Alex, or what team wants you, but
it'll be a month-long show for me against someone. I mean,
oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of Pygow tiles on the channel, and I think it's kind of kickstarted my channel again. Thank you guys for your support and watching that part. I promise you we're going to get to the other games, but I'm just having way too much fun with this one specific thing that I'm doing. So, and Alex, you are right, because I am going all in with this, and I think this is going to be the dumbest thing you've ever seen, but it's going to be pretty damn funny too. So
I'm ready and willing to watch it.
You can tell
I can.
because I didn't put my light on, and now it's getting really dark.
Oh yeah, no worries. Okay, we're perfectly like right here on the end. So guys, thank you so much for being on. Thank you everybody for being online and watching. Again, Shauna's book is available on Amazon.ca, so make sure you pick it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jay.
Good night.
And take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.